time to hear myself called an Englishman, sir. I assure you, I prefer I remain asleep.
Oh, come now. What's so terrible about being called an Englishman? The English don't seem to mind.
Nor would I, were I given the full rights of an Englishman. To call me one without those rights is like calling an ox a bull. He's thankful for the honor, but he'd much rather have restored what's rightfully his.
When did you first notice they were missing, sir?
Oh.
Fortunately, Dr. Franklin, the people of these colonies maintain a much higher regard for their mother country.
Higher, certainly, than she feels for them. Never was such a valuable possession so stupidly and so recklessly managed as this entire continent by the British Crown. Our industry discouraged, our resources pillaged. Worst of all, our very character stifled. We spawned a new race here. Rougher, simpler, more violent, more enterprising, less refined. We're a new nationality, Mr. Dickinson. We require a new nation.
Yes, well, that may be your opinion, Dr. Franklin. As I say before, the people feel quite differently.
And what do you know of the people, Dickinson? You don't represent the people, you speak only for yourself. The precious status quo you keep imploring the people to maintain for their own good is nothing more than the eternal preservation of your own property.
Mr. Adams, you have an annoying talent for making such delightful words as property sound quite distasteful. In heaven's name, sir, what is wrong with property? Don't you forget that many of us first came to these shores in order to secure rights to property, and that we hold those rights no less dear than the ones you speak of.
Oh yes, so safe, so fat, so comfortable in Pennsylvania.
And what is this independence of yours except for the private grievance of Massachusetts? Why is it always Boston that breaks the king's peace? My dear Congress, you must not adopt this evil measure. It is the work of the devil. Leave it where it belongs, in New England. Brother Dickinson, New England's been fighting the devil for the past 100 years. And as of now, Brother Sherman, the devil has been winning, hands down. Why, at this very moment, he's sitting here in this Congress. Don't let him deceive you. This proposal is entirely his doing. Just a minute. No, it may bear Virginia's name, but it reeks of Adams, Adams, and more Adams. Look at him, ready to send this continent on the fiery path of total destruction.
Good God! When will you acknowledge what already exists? More than a year since Concord and Lexington. We're at war, right now!
You may be at war, Boston and John Adams, but you will never speak for Pennsylvania!
Nor for Delaware!
Mr. Reed, you represent only 1/3 of Delaware.
A sensible third, Mr. Rodney.
Oh, sit down, you little roach, or I'll knock you down. Sit down, all three of you. McNair, do something about these damn flies.
McNair, fetch me a rum.
Get the flies first.
A rum.
Flies.
I've only got 2 hands!
Oh, Christ, it's hot. Please, do go on, gentlemen. You're creating the only breeze in Philadelphia.
Mr. Adams, perhaps you can clear something up for me. After we've achieved independence, who do you suppose would govern in South Carolina?
The people, of course.
Which people, sir? The people of South Carolina or the people of Massachusetts?
Face it, Nettie. You're against independence now and you always will be.
Aye. You refuse to understand us, gentlemen. We desire independence, yes, for South Carolina. That is our country. And as such, we don't wish to belong to anyone. Not to England, and not to you.
We intend to have one nation.
A nation of sovereign states, Mr. Adams. United for our mutual protection, but separate for our individual pursuits. That is what we've understood to be, and that's what we'll continue to support as soon as everyone supports it.
There you are, Mr. Adams. You must see that we need time to make certain who we are and where we stand in regards to one another. For if we do not determine the nature of the beast before we set it free, we'll end by consuming its salt.
For once in your life, Mr. Wilson, take a chance. I say the time is now. It may never come again.
Your clock is fast, Mr. Adams. I say we're not yet ripe for independence.
Not right! Hell, we're rotten for one of it!
Gentlemen, please, what in God's name is the infernal hurry? Why must this question be settled now?
What's wrong with now, Mr. Chase?
General Washington is in the field. If he's defeated, as it now seems, we'll all be inviting the hangman. But if by some miracle he should succeed, we can declare anything we damn well please.
The sentiments of North Carolina, precisely.
Has it occurred to either of you that an army needs something to fight for in order to win? A cause, a purpose, a flag of its own?
Mr. Adams, how can a nation of only 2 million souls stand up to an empire of 10 million? 10 million. Think of it, 10 million. How can we compensate for that shortage?
It's simple, Mr. Chase. Increase and multiply.
We will more than compensate with spirit. I tell you, there's a spirit out there with the people that is sadly lacking in this Congress.
Oh, yes. Now it's spirit. Well, why didn't I think of that? No army, no navy, no arms, no ammunition, no treasury, no friends. But bless our souls, spirit! Mr. Lee, Mr. Hopkins, Mr. Rodney, Colonel McKean, Dr. Franklin, why have you all joined this incendiary man? This Boston radical? This agitator? This demagogue? This madman?
Are you calling me a madman? You rebel!
Oh, easy, John.
You with your Pennsylvania proprietors, you cool, considerate men. You hang the rear on every issue. So if we should go under, you'll stir it afloat.
Are you calling me a coward?
Yes.
Coward? Madman?
Landlord!
Lawyer?
Back up, John!
Stop it!
This is the Congress! Stop it! I say the enemy is out there!
No, Mr. Rodney, the enemy is here!
No, I say he's out there! England closing in, cutting off our air. There's no time, there's no air, no air.
Caesar! Dr. Hall!
Colonel,
It's the concept.
did you go home?
Yes. Man should die in his own bed. John,
How can you see something?
I leave you a divided Delaware. Forgive me.
I'll take you home, Caesar. I'll be back before the week is out.
Mr. President, South Carolina calls the question.
What's that, Mr. Rutledge?
I said, Mr. President, South Carolina desires to end the debate and call the question of independence.
No, we can't.
You can't do that! What?
Gentlemen, please. The question has been called and seconded. Mr. Secretary, you can call the roll.
Franklin, do something, think!
I am thinking. Nothing's coming.
All those in favor of the resolution on independence as proposed by the colony of Virginia signify by saying...
Mr. Secretary, would you read the resolution again? I've forgotten it.
Resolved that these united colonies are...
I beg your pardon. I'm the Reverend Jonathan Witherspoon, new delegate from New Jersey. Dr. Franklin. Dr. Franklin. I regret that I must be the bearer of unhappy tidings, but your son, the royal governor of New Jersey, is taken prisoner. He's been moved under guard to the colony of Connecticut for safekeeping.
Tell me, is he unharmed, sir?
When last I heard, he was, yes, sir.
Oh, and why the long face? I hear Connecticut is an excellent location. Tell me, why'd they arrest the little bastard?
Well, our New Jersey legislature has recalled the old delegation of this Congress and has appointed a new one.
Quickly, man, tell me, where do you stand on independence?
Haven't I made that clear?
No.
No, I suppose I haven't. But that was the reason for the change. we have been instructed to vote for independence.
Mr. President, Massachusetts is now ready for the vote on independence. It reminds the chair of its privilege, deciding all votes that are deadlocked.
I won't forget, Mr. Adams. The chair would like to welcome the Reverend Witherspoon and appoint him congressional chaplain if he will accept the post.
With much pleasure, sir.
Very well. Mr. Thompson, you may now proceed with the vote on independence.
All those in favor of the resolution on independence as proposed by the colony of Virginia signify by saying...
Mr. President, Pennsylvania moves that any vote in favor of independence must be unanimous.
What?
I second the motion.
Judge Wilson.
Oh my God.
Tell them our seconds, Mr. President.
No votes ever had unanimous against them. You know it.
Yes, but this one must be.
On what grounds?
On grounds that no colony be separated from its mother country without its own consent. Hear, hear.
It will never be unanimous, damn it.
If you say so, Mr. Adams.
It has been moved and seconded that the vote on the resolution on independence must be unanimous in order to carry. All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yea.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 say yea. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 say nay.
Mr. Secretary, you are next stage. Pretty sweet.
Mr. Morris, why does New York constantly abstain? Why does New York simply stay in New York? Very well. The vote is tied. Principles of independence have no greater advocate in this Congress than its president. And that's the reason why I must join those who vote for unanimity.
What? John, what are you doing? You shook us!
Hear me out. Don't you see that any colony who opposes independence will be forced to fight on the side of England? That we will be setting brother against brother? That our new nation will carry as its emblem the mark of Cain? I see no other way. Either we walk together, or together where we stay where we are. Proceed, Mr. Thompson.
A unanimous vote being necessary to carry, if any be opposed to the resolution on independence as proposed by the colony of Virginia, signify by saying...
Mr. President!
For heaven's sakes, let me get through it just once.
Mr. President, I move for a postponement.
I wish you the same luck I had with it.
No, Mr. Adams is right. We need a postponement.
On what grounds?
On what grounds?
Mr. President, how can this Congress vote on independence without a declaration of some sort defining it?
What sort of declaration?
Well, you know, listing the reasons for the separation, outlining our goals and aims, and so on and so forth, etc., etc. Ditto, ditto.
We know those, don't we?
Oh, good God, yes, we know them, but what about the rest of the world? Surely we require the aid of a powerful nation such as France or Spain, and such a declaration would be consistent with European values.
Come now, Mr. Adams, you're going to have to do better than that. Answer straight, what would be its purpose?
Yes, well,
To place before mankind the common sense of the subject in terms so plain and firm as to command their assent.
Mr. Jefferson, are you seriously suggesting that we publish a paper declaring to all the world that an illegal rebellion is in reality a legal one?
Why, Mr. Dickinson, I'm surprised at you. You should know that rebellion is always legal in the first person, such as our rebellion. It is only in the third person, their rebellion, that it is illegal. Mr. President, I second the motion to postpone the vote on independence for a period of time Sufficient for the writing of a declaration.
It has been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary.
All those in favor of postponement signify by saying yea.
Yay!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 say yea. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 say nay.
Mr. President, New York abstains. Courtesy.
Mr. Morris, what in hell goes on in New York?
Sorry, Mr. President, but the simple fact is that the legislature's never sent us explicit instructions on anything.
Now! That's impossible.
Have you ever been present at a session of the New York legislature? Everyone talks very fast, very loud. No one pays any attention to what anybody else says, to the extent that nothing ever gets done. I beg the Congress's pardon.
My sympathies, Mr. Morris. The vote, again, being tied, the chair decides in favor of the postponement. So roll. We now will form a committee to manage the declaration. Said document to be written, debated, and approved by the beginning of July, 3 weeks hence, at which time we will vote on Virginia's resolution on independence. Is that clear?
Yes, Mr. President.
Will the following gentlemen please serve on the committee? Dr. Franklin, Mr. John Adams, Mr. Sherman, Mr. Livingston, and of course, Mr. Lee.
Oh, excuse me, but I must be returning to the sovereign colony of Virginia, as I've been asked to serve as governor. Therefore, I must decline. Respectful, Lee.